welcome to the Videos Corner. I'm your host Martin, also known as Falcon One, and today I talk about editing with ZeonicFreak. Hello and welcome.
Hey! I jumped the gun! Hey everyone!
So, you are a part of the editing scene for a very long time, if I'm not wrong.
I've been editing for a long time, let's say, but I took a very long time of a break. I recently just joined the community in the past like 2 years, I'd say. But I've always done solo. I've always just kind of just made what I wanted. I didn't know. I mean, I know there's a community, but I wasn't really like needed to be involved with them in any way. I was like, I just want to do my own thing. And it was only from 2 years ago that I got invited into the community and gotten to know people more, thanks to, say, Speedy 180. When I submitted a video to AgamaCon, that's a local con that's like an hour from me. And first time I've done a trailer, which was called Gundocalypse Now, which is Gundam 8th MS Team and Apocalypse Now, the film. I was in there and I was watching it because I was seeing other people's stuff. And then he said like, hey, is Dustin here? This Dustin guy. And I was right next to him. I said, yeah, sure, I'm here. And he goes, you don't go anywhere. I need to speak to you. Yeah, so I sat down next to him during the video contest, and he's like, "Here, you need to join these Discord groups. I'd like to get to work with you and get to know you." And that's kind of how I got started into the community that way.
Ah, okay, that's good. That's great. That's great. That's always interesting to hear how people get back into it, because I was also more likely not editing for a long time. It's always interesting how people get into it and maybe get back into it. When did you really start editing? It's not important like AMVs, just editing at all. And how did you get into it? Because it's not that, I say, popular hobby overall.
I actually kind of fell into it. So back in the day if you had a PC computer, there was Windows XP. So we're talking early 2000s. And I had a friend over one time back in like high school. This was early 2000s, say 2002 about end of 2002. And he told me about making videos on a program on Windows XP called Windows Movie Maker. I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so a lot of people got their start from Windows Movie Maker. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
I think people are being honest about that.
Many people did it, and
Yeah.
podcast episodes before, some all said, yeah, I started with Windows Movie Maker because it was there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Windows Movie Maker, you could actually do really good on making videos on like Windows XP, and then when it got to Vista, it was trash. And I think by 7 they got rid of it completely. But like for what it is, like to at least get started, that's actually not a bad program.
No, it was for the beginning and to understand what's going on. It was okay. It was not perfect. You couldn't do much, but what you could do, it was enough, in my opinion.
Yeah, but so I had some anime stuff that I downloaded on the computer at the time, which I was really trying to get into watch Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, and all I could find was like real media files from like some out-of-date GeoCities website. Well, back then it wouldn't be considered out-of-date. It would be like modern, but you look back now 20 years, it's like, oh, that I don't even know where I got it from. I was just searching. I probably found it through some website on Anime Turnpike when people use that.
Okay.
And I had some clips, and it was only that. And then also I had file sharing services like Kazaa, Winamax.
Yeah, all that stuff we had back then. Yeah.
Yeah, so you weren't using, like, torrenting was still, like, in the infancy stages. But then there was also the P2P services, like, well, there was Morpheus. Anyway, so there was that. So that's how, like, you just do a search on, like, the program to find whatever, and it's basically whoever is online at that time, you can get whatever you need from them. So that's how I got some of my anime episodes from, like, Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Evangelion.
Yeah.
Just kind of whatever, Gundam Seed when that was coming out. And so I remember taking the first episode of Zeta Gundam and just kind of making it to this song. It's like Char song where it's like Sha, Sha, Sha from the original Mobile Suit Gundam series.
Mm-hmm.
I was just playing around with it. I still have that video. Like I can pop it in and still play it. But like, when you're looking back and the first thing you did, it's like finger painting. And like, it's not good, but you were just learning how things work.
Yeah.
And from there, I did, I took whatever episodes I had from, like, I found online of Bebop, and I did one to Separate Ways by Journey. And I remember showing some friends in high school, and to me, it meant one thing, and when they saw it, it meant something totally different. And one friend pointed out, like, are you saying that Spike and Vicious are gay? And I'm like, No, that's not what I. And then I actually watched it with them. I was like, ah, crap.
And then was the moment where I say, "Oh, okay, yeah,
I
you
was like,
could
oh,
think like this."
Julie's in there. It sort of flows together. Not really, but I watched it recently just to see how I
Mhm.
did, and I was like, there's a lot of things that like I'll look at it and I'm like, I think I know what I was going for there, and the rest of this I have no idea.
I think that's totally fair because when we are looking back for, as you said, like 20 years,
Hmm.
it's totally different how we think today.
Yeah.
So that's completely normal in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you thought it was the greatest idea ever 20 years ago. And then within that time then to now, you forgot why you wanted to make it in the first place. And then you look back and you go, and that's when you always say, what was I thinking?
Yeah, I can say of my first video it was very simple because I was starting and I wanted to do something very simple, and I was like, okay, I use Cow Bebop the movie, and then my brother said, hey, just use the song Cowboy from Kid Rock, and I was like, yeah, could work, and put the stuff together, and I was more likely trying to lyrics sync it. That was not very big thought process behind it, just like, oh yeah, I need to try to find a scene that fits to the lyric, and yeah.
Can you say confidently that you were the first person to make a bebop song to that Kid Rock song? Because I wanted to do that, and I've been so lazy to do it, so I didn't realize someone else beat me to the punch.
I don't know if I was the first person. I did the video in like 2004. Don't know. It got taken down from YouTube, so doesn't matter.
Oh.
I think like half a year after it was uploaded, got a message from YouTube. Please take it down.
Yeah, I've gotten some of those. If we want to talk trash about YouTube real quick, so I got two videos that were taken down. So one of my early stuff that I did, I actually put it up on the org maybe 6 months ago or so. It was one of my older videos, and I was like, all right, fine. I like to just archive my stuff on the org, so at least like if anything happens, I can go back to it. And if someone likes it, that's great. I don't expect them to, but I took Record of Lotus War with a Norwegian black metal band called Bal Sagoth.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into Bal Sagoth because I had friends in high school that like found out about him. I think one of them from his brother, and they were just like, "This album's great," and that's kind of all we kind of listened to. And one guy made remixes with, and I have some of those on like either data CDs or on a hard drive deep within my confines of archives. So I did that with two of the songs from this album. I think it's Starfire Burning Upon the Ice Velvet Throne of Ultima Thule. That was the name of the song that I used, but I think that was the name of the album as well. And I put that together, and I look back at it. I'm like, I know I was trying to make something really good, but now that my editing's gotten better, it doesn't look as good. But I really liked what I made. So I put it up on YouTube. I made it, but then like a year or so later, when I got a YouTube account, I finally put that up there. And I think not too long after that, one of the drummers at the time of Bal Sagoth wrote a comment saying how much he liked the video.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and this was a time where like artists didn't really care about like if their stuff was on YouTube, or if they did, they didn't know how to go about it legally to take it down.
Mm,
So this is like the early days of YouTube where, people could literally put up music or whatever, or if they,
y-
made a video, then the artist could come and see it because they're just like, "Oh, I want to see my stuff on, the internet now that we're transitioning to this digital medium of watching music videos and stuff." Not long after that, that video got taken down, not from the record label of Bal Sagoth, but from some Italian anime like video production company that has some sort of rights to Record of Lotus War, and they're the
oh.
ones that demanded a takedown.
Okay, I can say it was from the music company. I don't know who was it at the time, but it was a bigger label. And so, yeah, just down. Yeah, it's sad to see that, but I'm also the person who doesn't care that much about it.
I could see that from Kid Rock, but the fact that like I guess whatever the record label was for Bal Sagoth, like they obviously didn't care or didn't know.
Mm,
But then because there was that period on YouTube where like people were uploading anime, but it was getting taken down because of either Toei, Sunrise, or Bandai or whatever.
yeah.
But the fact that it was an Italian, I had to search it at the time, and I found it was a company out of Italy that took it down because they have DVD publishing rights to it, to Record of Lotus Ward in Italy. And I'm like, why
Oh,
do you care? so,
yeah.
um, so that was the first one. The second one is I made, and I think it's up on YouTube, but it's very restricted if you can see it now. But I did an initial D video to Strike On by Move. So I made that I think 2004 or five, and I didn't put it up online until like a year or so later.
Mm,
And that's been online for, oh, man, maybe 13 years, garnished over a half a million views. had so many comments, so many likes, and Avex went through this whole genocide of like anybody putting anything up that's got that belongs to Avex is being taken down immediately on YouTube.
Mm,
And one of my and that was the video that got taken down.
mm.
Now, the gut punch to that was I think about I put in a request to like, they got taken down. I was like, well, that sucks. A month later, I got a request from Avex saying they wanted to monetize the video. So I responded back to YouTube and I said, how in the hell, and I think I wrote this specifically, how in the hell can you monetize a video that you yourselves took down? Are you going to put it back up? I don't care if you make money off of it. Can it at least be back online? And I never got a response from anybody. And I think a year
Oh,
later, they finally put it out, or they made it available, but it's so restrictive.
okay. Yeah, that's the thing about YouTube we will never understand.
Yeah.
But yeah. So over the years you made a bunch of videos. Is there one AMV where you say that's your favorite you made? Where you can say, oh yeah,
Um,
or any other video you made. So it doesn't need to be an AMV. Just a video project where you say, oh, I'm proud of this.
Yeah, I will say that I think I don't really want to have a favorite because I feel like if I have a favorite, I'll be tied to that video, and then I feel like I can never do better than what I just made.
Mm,
So I enjoy what I make, but I always want to do better than what I made the last time. I want to
okay.
continue getting better, and I see the level of like the people that have been doing this for years, like Leap Meat Wad, and essentially Mabaroboshi, who still makes stuff like once in a blue moon now, and
Mm,
he's been doing that for 20 years. And I'm just so amazed at like the quality of the people that made stuff back then and now, and they've improved, and it's like there's a sort of this bar of like like I can, if they can do that, so can I. Like what's stopping me from not making something amazing?
yeah.
And my thing is that I want to do it my way. A lot of people like to make the same sort of videos, and I kind of see that a lot now, but then I like to make something like what's something nobody's touching, no one would ever think of doing. That's what I want to do.
That's a very
And
interesting
at least do
approach.
a darn good job at it.
Yeah.
But I would say that for the video the last AMV I made before I got back into it was a Bubblegum Crisis one that I made to the Megadeth cover of Duke Nukem theme, and that premiered at Animation 2010. I added some quote special effects. I mean, like effects, like audio effects,
Mm-hmm.
because I thought it'd be sound cool if you had explosions in certain scenes. I just didn't do it very good because now that I look back and I'm like, I should have just left it alone. But one instance was I think it was a growl or explosion that happened that I added a sound effect to it. The video's playing and that happens, and it sounded like I blew out a speaker, like it was overly loud. So in the middle of the video, the audio technicians cut the audio down completely because they thought something effed up in the video. So I'm in the
Oh,
back of the room just laughing,
oh, wait,
and I'm thinking maybe someone on the front row like I blew out their eardrum or something. Like bravo to me.
oh God.
Yeah. So to me it was kind of like that's the one I fondly remember. I guess in a sense being my favorite of like kind of the experience that people had, or at least the how I ticked
The
off the AV
shocking.
tech room at Animation that one year. Yeah. Yeah. That's when I didn't make a video for like another 9 more years.
It was more likely, yeah, the same time, 2010, the last video, and now, like 2020, I made one little project in DaVinci Resolve, and that was it until now. After the long pause, you started again and did also some very interesting trailer videos and on. But how do you approach this project? Or is there some thought process behind it? Or is it just like take this audio, take this anime and put it together and see what's coming out?
I guess for me, I really would like to be a director, and I guess a lot of people say that, or people that are editors like to be able to direct something at some point. But for me, it just kind of feels like it's natural to the way I approach, especially like trailers. I guess for me, I watch an anime, and in my mind, I'll compare it to a movie I really like. Like, why can't they just make an anime version of that? So that's kind of sort of my inspiration for making trailers is that there's a movie I really like, and there's an anime I think will fit very well. So for an example, like I did with Gundacalypse now, and then recently I did Platoon with Gundam 8th MS team. I just feel like people that watch Platoon, it's a bunch of military dudes, grunts, in the jungles in Vietnam, and that's kind of what 8th MS team is. It just to me it blends so well. I mean, what I like to do is if it's an anime I do know that like the back of my hand, like Cowboy Bebop for example, like
Mm,
I'm not too worried about like if I know an anime so well that I know what scenes to pick, that's great. It's a matter of the idea where it's coming from in the movie. So like I like to watch like the content of the film first. Like for stuff like for instance for Gundacalypse now, I watched Apocalypse now.
hmm.
So I could feel like what would fit better if I was to pick certain dialogues that would fit to what I want. and get familiar with that. Because then I kind of sort of typecast like characters from AMVs team on who can be, the main person, the Michael, Martin Sheen's character, like say, and even Platoon. I kind of made Sergeant Elias as the role of Shiro, and then Sergeant Barnes as the other guy that his name escapes me, but the bigger guy, because Terry Sanders, that's it. Because it's just kind of like you take Tom Bereger's like character in that film, that kind of really mirrors the look of what Terry Sanders looks like in AMVs team, and I'm just like, boom, that's perfect right there.
Okay, so I have the question because it sounds like you saw the trailer and then you thought, okay, I want to match this with. I mean, now I need to watch the movie first.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. Like I like to like any kind of source material. That's the way I go about it. It's like any material I want to use from a film. I like to watch the film first, so then I get an idea of like what scenes from that film that I can match with certain scenes of the anime that will go very well with it.
So you watched in particular because you saw the Platoon trailer and then you said like, okay, I want to do an AMV with it, and now I need to watch Platoon because that's very interesting to
Yeah,
see.
I would get the idea from like watching trailers, and I'm just like, I like to watch the film, so I'm accustomed to it. I know what the story
Yeah,
is, and just matching that with the anime to tell the story.
that's a very interesting approach of the trailer theme, and yeah, that's cool. I like it. I really
Okay,
meant to
okay,
say
I'm
it.
not
I
I'm not
liked it.
I'm not just crazy.
No, it's not. It's to be fair, when someone watches a trailer and likes the trailer, it's more likely to watch. You want to watch the movie, and then if you have like,
Yeah.
yeah, I want to do that. Why not also watch the movie? Because I want to watch the movie because I like the trailer and I want to make a video. So very
Mhm.
interesting approach.
I mean, the other example that I did was when I did Raleigh. That was
Mm.
inspiration for the 1968 film Bullet with Steve McQueen, Robert Vaughn, and I can't think of the other guy's name now, but he was a very younger. Anyways, his name will come to me. But like I've seen Bullet like a couple of times, but it's kind of a hard film to watch because it's a very dry sort of detective film, and the film is very popular and known for the really cool car chase. It's like about 10 minutes long in the film. That's really the best part of the movie.
Okay.
But I kind of thought it was interesting and just like, okay, well, what if Steve McQueen was an anime girl that was like Raleigh Vincent from Gunsmith Cats? And that was sort of my inspiration for that because there's like, yeah, maybe I could have done it with like Rio Saba from City Hunter, but I don't know City Hunter well, but I do know Gunsmith Cats. And, like Gunsmith Cats works very well because there is an American muscle car
Yeah.
in it, just the same as it was with Bullet. They're both Ford Mustangs, so that
Oh.
just works right there. That's kind of like a good pillar to start with.
Oh, that's cool. Yep, I need to say I never saw Bullet, so it's hard for me to see the connections, but to know it, it makes much more sense
Mhm.
and makes the video also better for, I think, people who already know the movie or know the real trailer and make a much better connection there. But to be fair, I liked the trailer. It was very interesting and the
Okay.
combination of it was very cool. It was something I felt a bit unique because it was, yeah, the old movie trailers are, I must say, a little bit longer
Mhm.
than nowadays, but they tell a great, interesting story most likely and don't tell too much,
Mhm.
which is the interesting thing. And yeah, the Ready AMV was very interesting. It was not like I wanted to stop after like 1:30, which is normally the end of a trailer or something like that. So it was very good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I decided to like the poster, like the little image at the end of the video. I actually have like a giant 24 by 36 poster on my bed. That was something I customized myself in Adobe software, which I'm utilizing one of the 3 degrees I have in commercial graphic design and commercial art to make AMVs with it. At least like make my skills better. But I guess for me, like AMVs was sort of when I started watching, it got me more interested, I think, in the music than it did the anime show. Because like I think the AMV, like what they used was the draw in there, but like what's the song that they're using, and is it
Mm.
something I like? So a lot of my music that I've come to really enjoy, say for example, from like people that made like anime hell stuff. There's a lot of like techno songs and just odd stuff that's like,
Mm.
well, the source that they're using sounds hilarious or just sounds awesome. Where did it come from? I want to get into that. So like that should be able to grow people's like music libraries. I think in my view of AMVs is that like it's sort of a gateway for to get people interested in the into what's being sourced with the anime than maybe the anime itself. And with my trailers, I'm a big film buff and I like older films. And I
Mm-hmm.
like to get people to look at my stuff as like, I've never seen Bullet, I've never seen Platoon or Apocalypse Now, and somebody took an anime I'm very familiar with to source material I don't know much about. I really want to check out, this film that they're making the
Yeah.
connection with, and that's kind of like sort of my main message there, because they get people into older stuff. And I can think of tons of movies that I compare with Cowboy Bebop as sort of that voice to show just how great that original film is. That people would
Mm.
like. I want to check out like what he's putting his source to. That sounds interesting.
Oh yeah. For me, it's also I discovered a lot of musicians and songs via AMVs,
Hmm.
but also animes. As for me, it goes in both ways. Because, for example, the place promised in our early days was I discovered this more or less by an AMV and was like saw the AMV and was like I want to see this anime because it looks so interesting.
Hmm.
And yeah, as you said with like the audio source, it can also work in this way because okay, it sounds very interesting. What I saw was very interesting, so I want to check out how near is it to the original one. So that could be also very interesting. And I can say, okay, I saw Apocalypse Now and Platoon, so now I need to check out Bullet.
Yeah.
Gets on my list now. Okay, so at the beginning, can you say there was something particular which was very hard for you at the beginning?
When I started editing,
Yeah.
I guess I didn't really care so much about skills because I just wanted to make stuff,
Hmm?
and I was just happy to make something. I guess for me, like at the beginning, I didn't really, because I was a high school student. The only way for me to get and watch my anime was online at the limited means that we had, which was basically file sharing. So I
Yeah.
wish I had space for like the whole series of Cowboy Bebop, because I would have been able to have a lot more source material to use from. And nowadays, because we have particular torrent sites, I'm sure people know about that they get their stuff from, that I don't have to say the name. Because I use them
I
often.
don't know what you're saying. Most people buy it.
There you go. Well, some things it's like still stupidly expensive to get a physical copy of, but like I guess for me it's like if I get something on like through means of downloading, it's just I'm only there to use the source material that I already have a physical copy of.
Yeah.
So I mean, shoot, I mean, I buy physical stuff still. Like recently, I bought, I think it's like the 30th anniversary of Toy.
Mm.
So Toy is basically this manga that was an OAV adaptation in 1987 about this guy that has like a garage band starting out. It's a very visually unique anime, and actually,
Mm.
Truth Crab just put out a Toy AMV like 2 days ago. And I saw it this morning, and I was just like, "Dadgum, that guy beat me to making a toy-inspired AMV." I'm not
Yeah,
surprised.
he was too fast. He was too fast.
Yeah, but he's doing. See, Truth Crowd is like I may not totally like everything he makes, but like that's just my preference. But
Mm.
he's got an audience for sure. Like he's getting people. I think it's more using the anime like like we talked about earlier as a medium or as a way to
Mm.
introduce like this music or whatever. And it's him as the editor to tell the story how he wants, which is what everyone's overall goal as an editor is. So whatever story you have to say and how you put it out is how you wanted it to be told. And
Mm.
so that's kind of a new way to introduce music and how he wants to, visually express the song and how he views it through, AMVs. Even if I don't like think his editing is maybe like on the same level as like these other editors that edit very well, or maybe he's getting there. I don't know, but like people really like his stuff. And he doesn't. He seems to be the type of person that's going to make whatever he wants, and my opinion doesn't matter at that point. So
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I view his stuff. I mean, like it's not my cup, and not totally my cup of tea, but I'm still like very intrigued by the things he makes from what I've seen.
The very
Um,
interesting thing is like how much he produces in what time, and it's still not
mhm,
like. And I need to say, yeah, it's not like the top notch of the editing for me, but it's very decent. And
yeah.
as you said, he brings up more likely the music aspect, and that's very interesting how he can produce so many different things and the short time he
Mhm.
is producing AMVs. So yeah.
He must literally have no life. No, I'm kidding. I don't know what he does.
I think he's just a person who is just fast. He has most likely the stuff he wants to show in his mind and put it on the timeline. I think
There you
that's
go.
more likely what's
Yeah,
going on.
yeah. Props to him.
Yeah, for sure. So we also started with like, okay, at the beginning, it's most likely source material, getting source material. Yeah, I
Hmm.
understand that. And you used Windows Movie Maker, but what other programs did you use, or which program do you use nowadays?
I mean, I'm more, I guess, fluent in Adobe software, and that's more of me going to school for 7 years and getting a degree in commercial art, graphic design, and or that was an associate. Then I got a bachelor's in digital media. So that's me getting versatile between Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and Premiere. I haven't really messed with After Effects, which is what a lot of people seem to be using. But like I guess I'd have to just sit down and just play with it and just take time to understand After Effects because I never really had a chance to like do it by the book on how to do certain things in After Effects. Whereas for Photoshop, like for now, I mean, I use that with also like Audacity if I have to like edit audio. I know like for me, like in terms of using like letters or graphics, I would put stuff between Illustrator and Photoshop, and then I kind of bring that image over to how I want to set up a text font or whatever through the video in Premiere. So I can typically use between, depending on what I need, 1 to 3 Adobe programs. And like I know people are going to be like, oh, Sony Vegas is better,
Mm,
Final Cut Pro. I don't know that stuff, but I know Adobe. I know
yeah.
where stuff is. It's comfortable. It's the beat up pickup truck that it's comfortable to sit down and drive, and you know how everything that's right and also everything that's wrong with it.
If you know your program, that it's okay, that you
Yeah.
know how to do this stuff. And do you do masking, for example?
I just figured out masking recently.
Okay, no, because I was just like, did you also do the masking like other people did, where they export all the pictures into Photoshop, mask it out, and put it back into Premiere and do it that way?
Now so I've had to cheat a little bit that way. So my Once Upon a Time in Ganymede
Yeah.
AMV, which is the trailer parody to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I saw the film first, and for some reason, like using Bebop with it was a great idea. People enjoyed it. I got several awards for that at the during 2020 for cons
Yeah.
and whatever. I mean, it was the semifinals, and I think the CDC or Japan Expo out in France, that big like
Hmm.
AMV
Hmm.
contest they do. Because
Yeah.
I didn't think I was just like I got in as a finalist, and then they did like a voting thing on popularity, and I got to like semifinals, and I went against a video that wanted being disqualified because it already aired before that someone found out. So it's like if I
Oh.
won semifinals, I would have won that. Yeah, that's the way
Uh,
I look at it. I was like, those. So I haven't had it. I was like, I did it once, and I was like, I don't really have a knack to enter it into them again. But it's just kind of playing around. But anyways, so the technical thing I did was there was one scene where Spike is talking to Leonardo DiCaprio's character,
yeah.
and I had one shot where every time Spike talked, and of course I had the lip sync, timed, but his collar would move all the time, like with the lips, because that was the
Oh.
way the animation was. So what I did is I just took a screen cap of it from Premiere, ran that through Photoshop, and cropped out everything but the collar of that shirt, and kind of enlarged it slightly, threw it back into Premiere to cover up the collar that was moving when Spike talked. And you look at it and you're
Uh,
like, you would never know.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's not cheating, that's just a way to use it because, okay,
Yeah.
nowadays Premiere has some masking tool, but it's not, I think, not really that great.
I just played with the masking tool in Premiere for a video I will be entering into Pro, Anime Weekend Atlanta's Pro competition,
Yeah.
and just to test something out. And I was kind of happy with it. So I once I did it and I knew what to do,
Mm.
I felt like the smartest man alive, and I was like, and I had to come back down to earth and be like, there's better programs that mask, and other people have been doing it long before you have. So get off your high horse for a sec. This is something I need to get really good at using, but I don't know.
I think it's not wrong to say like, oh God, I discovered it myself, and
Yeah,
it's always a great thing to be. Yeah, you can be proud if you discover something and I say, "Oh my God, why did I not see it?" But yeah, now I know how it works and all the stuff. I think that's totally okay to say,
yeah.
"Yes, I did it."
Yeah, it's I mean, masking in Premiere is like using like tracing and or the points in like Illustrator or Photoshop. Well, Illustrator is really good for that, where you just kind of like to dot out what you need, and then you
Yeah.
make like it's like basically it's like a separate layer for masking in Premiere, like it is in Photoshop and Illustrator. So
Mm.
like I kind of like once I knew like how that worked, I was like, okay, this is great, this is easy. I can do this. Yes, I'm kind of really excited to use that kind of masking again if I do need it. There is one video I like to work for on masters that I really, really, really need to get started on that I would believe it's going to require a lot of masking. Yeah, have another idea like that. So
Okay, then I will look forward to Anime Weekend in Atlanta. So
okay,
we will see.
Yeah.
Are there some editors where you looked up or look up or get inspired by?
Oh, inspired by other editors? I
Or are you more like the person, yeah, I enjoyed it, but I want to do my own stuff?
I mean, I feel like I'm more of the second thing where it's like I like to do my own stuff, but like if I look at editors and their work and how they, put up a scene and how they time it to the music, like that's what I kind of subconsciously study on how
Hmm.
they do stuff. So then I know what to look for.
Oh, okay.
So like it's because I've been getting into doing videos, again the past couple years, and I'm getting to see other people's stuff, and I'm just like, and some of it I'm just totally impressed with, and I'm just like, oh, dadgum, why didn't I think about doing it that way, And that's kind of
Hmm.
it's learning from other people. So like they're
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of their work is kind of there for me to better improve myself, but I think that's for every editor as well. So like it's great if somebody looks at my stuff and then makes a trailer that I'm
Hmm.
just like so blown away with, and they're like, well, I was inspired by you. I'll be like, go ahead it. I'm so glad I helped you. I'm so glad I'm the step stool for
Yeah.
you to get better than me. So that's all good. I don't take it personal. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's something I can understand. It's to find the stuff entertained, that you get entertained, but also get something out of it. Like, oh, it's interesting how the person did this scene and use this effect to get this effect, like for the
mhm.
viewer, and to learn something from that. That's very, very interesting. So you are more likely also analyze what's going on and how the things work to get something out for yourself.
Yeah, it's taking what people have done, seeing if you
Mm.
can do it better, or if not, adapting it to what you want to do. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like Meatwad put out the Weebstagram video, and I understand he put like a ton of hours into that, and I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a cleverly made, well made video, and a lot of people, like, a lot of editors are just in awe. But he had help making it, but it's still the concept of how he did everything with a smartphone and making the fake Instagram and making it
Mm.
look like it's passable. It's just like, oh, I got to figure out how he did that.
Yeah.
But I think in due time, if you play with it, you can kind of sort of mimic that, pretty well or spot on. But by then, he's going to probably be doing something else that's a whole lot like way out there. So,
Yeah, the thing is like understanding and learning how the thing works. It can be easy to understand it, but to use this information is most likely the harder part, I think.
hmm
For me, it's like I'm a person who can look at something and can analyze it and can break an effect down to what it uses. For example, if you have like, oh, a picture is flipping and you have a different scene, I can say, okay, there's a transformation, there is a timing, there is a blur, there is this and that, and at this like degrees, there's the flip of the scene, and the same degrees goes on with the next scene, and it's
hmm
flipping, transforming again. I can see that, but to using it in a good way is a different that I need to say, and that's also with this approaches of images and compositions to look well
hmm
and realistic, like you said with the Instagram page in the video with the photos. Yeah, that's something different. You can learn it and learn something from it, but to get on the same level, it's a different thing.
yeah, I totally agree.
Are there certain styles of video you prefer, like watching drama videos or stuff with or action or stuff with many effects, simple editing, or are you a person like, oh, I can give me everything you have?
I guess for me, it's if I think it's the content of what's in the video, like, and especially for me, if it's something I'm familiar with, like a song, I'll be like, okay, how do they do this? Like for example, like Lazy Days put out that McDonald's commercial to that the skate anime,
Yeah,
or, skateboarding, and that was so well done. But what sold me on that video was the fact that this is a commercial I probably saw 1,000 times growing up. And here
yeah.
it is in like this AMV form, and it's spot on. So there's that level of familiarity with it. And there's some other stuff where it's like I said, if there's something in there I'm familiar with, and I'll definitely check it out or watch it or whatever.
Hmm.
And then there's some other stuff where it's like if it's something I've never seen or heard of, then I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, because you want to know what is
Yeah,
this? What's going on? What can it be?
yeah.
I understand that. So it's not really there's a preference in like a specific type. It's just like, yeah, if it gets some way my attention, it doesn't matter if it's an action video or a drama or something like that. It just needs to be
Yeah.
maybe something I'm familiar. Yeah, it's that's
Yeah,
that's
it's something like if it garners my interest, whatever it is, then I'm gonna watch it. So like, if it's something Initial D related, I'm gonna watch it because I'm a huge
mm.
Initial D fan. And
Yeah, I know some other German editors. They're like the initial D. Yeah.
I mean, I did a panel about Initial D at Anime Week in Atlanta this past year, and it went
Mm.
great. I got a small room, but like that place was packed with the 40 or 50 people in there.
Oh.
And I just kind of mind vomited everything that's been on my brain for the past 20 years. Everything I know about Initial D, that's just like, now that I've given you this information, it doesn't have to die with me. And I have total peace with that. Until I decided to do the panel again somewhere else. So
You have a degree in commercial art and digital media video production. Did this degree help you also with your video editing skills?
yeah, absolutely, it
think,
has.
yeah.
I will say that I think my skills as an editor have dramatically improved because I'm versatile in the latest technology to make this
Mm.
stuff. It's the fact that, like, you know, in 2010 with my Bubblegum Crisis video was the last thing I made for 9 years. Technically, that's not true. I got into making actually a video professionally for an anime release by Anime Ego, because
Mm.
Anime Ego in the past few years, they have taken anime titles and put them out on Kickstarter. So it's kind of like you support, you know, whatever, how many people support the Kickstarter, that's how many copies they're going to make. A great story on how I got that position into helping out Anime Ego, because when they first started doing the Kickstarter stuff, like Robert Woodhead, I got to meet him in person, I think 2014 for the first time, or 13.
Mm-hmm.
He had a panel there because he was about to put out Bubblegum Crisis on Blu-ray, and I was kind of the guy. I was kind of like the smart ass in the audience. I was like, "When are you going to put out, like, you know, Bubblegum Crash or whatever?" And just to get a rise out of people, and he just kind of rolled his eyes. And then fast forward like 6 years later, and here I am up on top of the stage next to him and somebody else, like talking about the stuff we're doing. So it's just
Cool.
wonderful how, like, I went from somebody in the crowd that I never thought I'd be in a position of working for a company that way. But how I got the job was it was the year that he was talking about stuff coming out. It was about a year or two later. And then I'm not sure if you're familiar with Michael Center Nicholas, the voice actor.
Oh no, sadly
Okay.
not. So
Do you watch
because
Venture Brothers?
no, I don't know this show.
Oh, you don't? Okay. So
Yeah.
there's one of the characters in Venture Brothers. His name is Dean Venture. Michael Center Nicholas has been in voice acting for a long time. He's done other stuff like the Turtles cartoon. I think he's
Okay.
Donatello or somebody. So it got to the point where I was going to ask Robert for a job, and Michael was there because Michael did voice acting work for Anime Ego well back in the early '90s.
Mm.
So I got to be in a conversation with these three people, especially him, for like 45 minutes in like the main lobby of Animazement. And then
Mhm.
afterwards, I asked, you know, Robert, I was like, I like to do some stuff for Anime Ego in the next project. Can I give you an email? He goes, yeah, sure, go ahead. So the main thing I focused on for Otaku no Video, that was their second Kickstarter, was I made music videos for their Blu-rays that people can
Oh.
access. Yeah, people can access to if they hit a code the wrong way or whatever on the they have like a little dial like code system, but if you enter the wrong way, there's a numeric program on what percentage it is to get this video and this video. So I made a lot of these joke videos where I
Oh.
added a track to like the live action segments, and I did one video to fight Ota King. Another guy did another video too, but it wasn't as good as mine, of course.
Yeah,
But when
yeah.
I sent my Fight Ota King video in, my comments from Robert was like, "Holy crap, my wife is laughing her ass off. This is fantastic." And
Oh.
that could have been a great flag to tell me to get back into making AMVs in 2015, but I didn't.
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh, you know, that's cool." I mean, because I just kind of, it took me a couple weeks to do something like that. And because I was just kind of playing with it. And I really
Mm.
didn't feel the need to get back into AMVs until 2018, actually, because so what got me back into making AMVs again is the fact that I was with my buddy John at AWA 2018, and he goes, "Oh, let's check out the AMV room." And I said, "Yeah, okay, sure." I didn't really care. And
Yeah.
we go in there, and I think it's somebody's panel or showcase of what they have, and they were showing some stuff that they were like apologizing how it was incomplete. And I remember watching some of that stuff, and my first thought was, "Wait, is this what the anime AMV community has gone to? Like this is the level no one's got. I can make better stuff than this."
Oh.
Oh man, I'm gonna watch this whole community out. And so that got me inspired to like get back into it. And the video I wanted to do and did, and it took me about 9 months just to play with it, was the Straight Outta Bebop, which I took NWA Straight Outta Compton with Cowboy Bebop, and I submitted that to the F Bombs for Charity in 2019. And this was right before I met Speedy at Agama, because that's how they knew about me, and I had no idea about this for a couple months. So I came from a room party to go down there. I'm like, well, they're supposed to be playing my video. Well, the tech crew was so behind getting started, and they said they promised me they're going to show the video because they acted like they didn't get it. And so apparently they wanted to play it because they really liked it. And I
Mm.
remember like I was thinking, dude, this is over in 30 minutes. There's no way they're gonna play this video. So I walked out of the video room. And little did I know when they did play the video, and people were asking and clamoring, where the heck is the editor for this? Where is he? He needs to come up here so we can clap for him. I had no idea any of this happened until the next day.
So like, okay, now no time for my video. Yeah, just kidding. I should do something else
Yeah, I was
because I
just like,
have
God, these
some
people are
other
so
time.
incompetent. Like they can't run anything. Well, this is the anime con for you, you know. And I'm just like, well, I'm at a, you know, Coke and Jack Daniels. I'm going back to the room party and drinking some more. And that was that was my
Oh,
attitude.
ow, oh, oh.
So, but little did I know that, very little did I know that when I started making stuff and doing AWA Pro contests, I'm just like, saw what other people were making. I said, holy crap, I am not as good as I think I am. So I am glad I'm knocked down a few pegs on that.
Oh, so it was like more likely you saw the beginner level of editing and was like, oh yeah, I can crush these people. If that's
Yeah,
the
that's
actual things today, then okay, let's do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then you saw the real pro contest and was like, oh shit, okay, the level is totally different to what I expected.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad I got put in my place there, and that's only pride has driven. I know pride is biblically a bad thing, but pride and arrogance has really driven me to stick with doing this. And now that I've gotten so much better, and I'm so content, and I love what I do, that I just want to continue getting better. And I'm glad I went there, and I'm glad I had that chip on my shoulder that I can be better than anybody else, and then find out a year or so later that I'm completely proven wrong. And yeah, so I'm really thankful, and I'm so thankful for the people in the community that like actually put up with me. So I'll just put it that way. But I've gotten to know some great people, and in person, and especially online in the group. So, and the only way
Yeah.
to see them is at cons, apparently, unless they're locally next to you. So,
Well, for me it would be a bit harder because it's not that cheap to travel from Germany
yeah,
and to the US, and also with my then I need to take my wife with me, so two people it's more expensive. Yeah.
man, if you
Yeah.
got nothing to do, end of October of any year, come to Anime Week in Atlanta, man.
That's one thing I want to do for like I don't know since 2006 2007 I always wanted to go to Anime Week Atlanta, but I had never the chance
I
because of
get you.
work, money, or something,
Hmm.
anything like that. It was always yeah,
Yeah.
not that great. Also, my English was horrible at the time, so yeah, I would get lost in the US, and we don't want to do want that.
Yeah, your English pass is fine now. Trust me, you'll be good. So
Yeah, that people say, but believe me, when we went a few years back, I think you would say most of the time, please can you repeat again? I can't understand you. When we are at the point of the community and all that stuff, what is for you the most important part of editing or the hobby overall? Is it the community? Is it just sharing the ideas or get the ideas on the timeline? What is for you one of the most important part of this hobby?
I think it's actually a little bit of both. I'm more on the socializing and connecting part when it comes to the community, and really just you want to make something, and there's
Mm,
certain people that I know that I can trust with like getting honest feedback about. There's some people that are way too honest in their feedback, I'd say, especially when it comes to pro reviews. If you've ever been through that, some of the comments people make, and I'm just like, then you meet them in person, you're just like, I can't get mad at you. So it's all
yeah.
good. But this I've gotten to know people, and trustworthy on their opinions and their viewpoints and stuff. And
Mm,
I'm especially grateful for having those connections with those people. And it's especially getting to know, like, if they come to me about, I don't, as far as I know, I think I've been asked from somebody else, like, what do you think of my work? Or yeah, one guy,
mm,
me and him kind of will bounce off ideas, and so then it's like, I think you need to make a correct connection here, correction. And then of course,
yeah.
like, I think in the end, it's your video on how you feel like you want to
Yeah.
do it. But then it's, you're when you share something you're working on with somebody else, and they're giving you a different feedback or view than what you think it's supposed to be, and they're not seeing that, then it's either you can be arrogant about it and just say, well, that's, yeah, that's up to them. But then it's like, okay, well, if they're not seeing what I'm trying to purvey, then there's something there that I'm missing. And how do I
Mm,
self-analyze and make that change to what I want to do? And so I kind of like that. There was the what was it, Sailor TARDIS that did that Matrix video with the trailer with Doka Magica, and but she
Hmm.
put it up on the like the stuff we're working on page, and I thought it was fantastic. I mean, there was some issues, but overall the message she had, I was like, this is an amazing trailer. And then he had people like that. Another somebody else came in there. I think it was yeah, and he were like, no, you need to make some changes here, and but it was kind of like there's you kind of need that, especially if you want to make something better, and that's
If you want to improve, yeah.
yeah, but
You,
in terms of criticism, like unless something is just really, really, really bad, then like I'll say something. But if it's like there's some things that's so minor that I'm kind of like, that doesn't bug me personally, and I'd let
mhm.
that go, and I still say it's a great film. But then it's like there's somebody else that's more OCD and analytical about things, and they're like, no, this has to be this precise. And if that change does happen, then it actually does look better. But there's certain people that I think are better on giving those critiques, and sometimes they may not come across politely to say it the way that you like to receive critique, but like they're just being blunt and honest about it. That's more on a personality basis. But but having people there to kind of help improve your work and see things a little differently than how you wanted to make it originally is a good thing.
For me, it's the problem because I'm not the person who how could I translate it? Speak through the flower, like the person who is directly has say, okay, I don't like that and don't like that because of that and that and that. I'm more like the person not saying, oh yeah, I think this looks very well, but at this point maybe you could change this, then it looks more in this way. No, I can't do that. So that's more the maybe cultural thing. I don't know.
That's you almost sounded American there for a second. Well, so what you're telling me is I'm not gonna don't go to you for any advice. I got you. I'm kidding.
If someone would come up to you and says, I want to also start making music videos, how should I start and where? What would you tell them?
Find a better hobby. No, I'm kidding. It's like you go up to a musician. I want to start a band. Don't start a band. That's actually a real song, real big fish.
Mm,
I would say I've had this question because I do podcasting, and I had one guy
mm,
ask me about it, and my instant thought was like, no, don't even do it. But then I was like, okay, hang on. But that's sort of a different thing from editing. I would say for editing, it's like just dive, kind of dive into it, play around with it. But then overall, like, what do you want to tell people? What do you want to show people? I mean, because editing is a form of art. I look at it this way: with every kind of video, there's always or a song, there's always a story to tell. I kind of compare this to the theology of. And I heard this. I took art history in college. I got close to having my
mm,
minor, but I wanted to get out of university, so I was short. I was short one class, but I did the rest of them. But I remember one
okay.
thing which was interesting, and that's kind of how I look at making AMVs. As sort of my theology is that like a sculptist is going to carve out a sculpture. What they're doing is that they already see what's in that block of marble or clay or whatever, but it's their job to cut away from what's hiding that's in there. That's the way I kind of look at AMVs, and like with if you're using a song or whatever, is that
Hmm.
you have an idea that's trapped in this song or a trailer or audio or whatever you want to do, and it's your job as an editor to bring that out and to refine it and to make it look like that piece of art that it needs to look like. So you
Yeah.
taking away everything that's hiding it and showing what it's supposed to be. And it's not something you're
Oh,
throwing
okay.
in there, because if you throw it in there, it's not going to work. But if it's already something that's naturally there, that naturally comes to you, then it's your job. Take whatever time it is to work on it and to bring it to full form. That
Okay.
I would say the best advice I've grown up to know getting back into making videos is patience, and not settling on you make something and you're saying that's good enough. It's making something that you like, but you feel like it could be better. And that's when you go to people and ask, like, what can, like, yeah, look at it, tell me what you think, what needs to be changed about it. And then from there, you kind of take in their advice and make the changes, or you're like, I really like it because it's my video. I want to have it this way. This is what I want to tell. This is what I want to show in that particular spot. And that's kind of what I want to tell people. It's like, okay, like if you listen to a song and you've got an idea in your head to a show, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, or whatever, and you would like to see that, and like instead of out of getting it being stuck in your brain out on a video, then go for it and make that happen. And make sure that it's exactly the way you want it to. Take as much time as you need to make sure that it's done correctly. And I hate to say this, like I'm preaching to I'm preaching to myself saying this, because that's something I think a lot of people struggle with, is they make something, but then they're always like, oh, it's good enough. And it's like, no, it's not. It can always be better. And it's pushing yourself to
Mm,
make sure that whatever you made can be better than how you have it as of now that you think is good good enough. And it's having the
Mm,
patience and perseverance to make sure that it's fully formed. And there's also a point with art. I think a lot of artists are just like, you work on something and you feel like you've done a good job, and you're afraid if you do anything else to it, you're just going to mess it up even more. So then just let it go. And then after a while, you look
mm,
back on it and like, man, and now that I know this new thing, that could have definitely been applied to that. And then you just apply that to the next piece of work. That's
mm.
that's my theology.
The interesting was like when you started like I don't recommend, don't do it, and you said like, yeah, that's what something I would say, but why? Because it's, is it not an interesting hobby, or is it just more likely waste of
No,
time?
I'm kidding. I think I'm just joking there. It's
Yeah, I thought so.
I think the people that have the actual drive and the actual like inner desire to create are the ones that are going to stay with the hobby the longest. And even if they take a break and come
Hmm.
back to it, like I did and you did. But there's a lot of people that I guess they feel like they can try it and then it's not for them and they just kind of give up. And then there's others that are like, I really want to stick with this. I know I'm not good right now. I'm not as good as I want to be, but I just want to
Hmm.
continue making things and just going from there. And those are the people that you can really work with because they're the ones that are teachable.
Hmm. Yeah, because they are likely to say, okay, I want to improve. I want
Hmm.
to get this one step further every time or something like that. And yeah, it's very hard to find, often find such people. I know that I had some conversations with younger people, with newer editors, and some of them still edit, and some of them just quit like after some time. And yeah, I could say after some time, yeah, this person will stay and will try to go on. And some people are more likely, yeah, okay, they will quit, because
Hmm.
I saw it's like when people try to think, yeah, it's, there must be a simple way to do stuff, and just go always the simple way, and
Hmm.
not wanting to go a step further, or learn something, or see, okay, it's not that easy to do, but I want to do it and understand it, how it works. If I see people at this point, I know these people will most likely stay longer in this, and also maybe do that later as not only as a hobby, maybe also as a job. You work as an editor, and or worked as an editor, professional, and nowadays with a hobby.
Hmm.
How do you manage the life work balance? Because I think it can be really hard to do that. Some editors, when they are going professional in editing, stop with the hobby, because they don't want to edit in the free time and at work. And other people like Jesuswits or Video Beats, which say they do that because they can't do the stuff like what they do at work,
Hmm.
and can do it as a hobby. How is it for you that way?
Well, I've kind of looked at this also because I graduated college in 2017 and I wanted to I put all this money into going to school to do
Mm,
what I'm doing now as a hobby, and I want to do it professionally and make billions of dollars, which is unrealistic. At least a bigger
yeah.
salary than what I have now. I kind of I was I'm close to Atlanta, which is a huge entertainment hub. They film stuff in Georgia all the time, and I guess because I wasn't hearing back from like Turner Broadcasting and other places, and I even did stuff for county that my school was in that's close by to where I
Mm,
live. So I did a promotion video for the county library system because nobody in their department wanted to do it. And so like my reel of like my stuff, you show what you've done. So I showed him like the stuff I did for Anime Ego, and one dude just got a kick out of it, and he's just like, I don't even. He's like, yeah, I know about this anime stuff. This actually looks pretty fun. So that was kind of like my
mm,
pitch to them. Anyways, but I wanted working for a senior program and making videos to put on the county TV. So that's my other part of my professional hobby, that not hobby, but like doing videos professionally. But
mm,
since college, I haven't really done a lot. But it was kind of like I got out of college, but at that same time, I got out of a 3-year relationship with a girl that I was engaged to at one point, and I was the
mm,
one that ended it. So long story short, there red flags, things like that. So I was in a major funk for a good few years or a couple years. And I felt like getting back into doing this as sort of like as an actual hobby, to do something I really enjoy, that
mm.
that kind of was therapeutic with me also, to kind of work on something like this, to work on the videos, and that that
Get
that
away
helped me in a way.
the other stuff.
I kind of look at it as like, well, there's sort of a saying where the worst leaks. So for example, like there's sort of a joke, or the worst leaks, that you'll ever find will be at the plumber's house. And the reason why behind that sort of a joke is the fact that if you got somebody that's a plumber, they're spending their whole career fixing other people's issues. And when they get home, they don't want to work on anything.
Yeah.
So I kind of look at that as like, well, maybe for right now, not doing anything professionally and using the hobby as a way to improve my skills, which is how I look at it, to be a better
Mhm.
editor than what I was before. This is sort of the time that is needed until something else comes up or till something works out. But I can continue to improve as an editor and really put myself out there and be like picked up by people like, yeah, I want that guy. He's really good. So I kind of look at that as this is a really good time for me to improve my skills and get better because I'm a lot better than what I was when I got into it, especially
Mhm.
with the things I know, like masking.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then kind of thinking creatively on how to go about tackling and how to share visually what you want to present to
Mhm.
people to be that sell something. Or I mean, I've done promotion videos for an apartment community I live and work at right now. So my boss, so that's kind of like he's using me as like the graphic designer guy. It's one of my many hats I wear here or I wear at
Mhm.
my job. So I've been able to do some small professional stuff for my job and everything. But I'm kind of glad that maybe it's a good thing. Like I said, that I'm not doing it professionally. Otherwise, I would just get burnt out. Wouldn't want to work on anything for myself,
Mhm.
and therefore I wouldn't be able to want to self grow. Because if you're working on
Okay.
yourself, then you have all this opportunity to grow yourself, and your skill set, and to actually really
Mhm.
enjoy what you do. So it's kind of like if I get something and it happens to work out that I make professional videos, that at that point
Mhm.
I would like to look at my work as still a hobby. And then at that point, it's like people say I go to work every day, but it's really just me enjoying what I do as a hobby 8-10 hours a day.
Mhm.
And that would be that to me, that is a very good life.
Where we are at this point already, um, where do you see AMVs or yourself like in 10 years or something like that? Do you think you are part of the community, or do you think in 10 years AMVs are gone from the earth because YouTube got banned or YouTube bans AMVs or something like that?
The latter would never happen. There's no way. People are still going to be creative. People are still going to find a way
Yeah,
to get their visions and their videos and whatever the stuff they want to make out there, with or without a YouTube. People were making AMVs before YouTube, and they're going to make it sure as hell after.
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's. I mean, we still
Yeah,
have the org. We have a way to host videos in the site, and I think the
yeah,
AMV.org site is so low key that like most musical artists probably don't even know it exists. And if they did, it's more of a fan thing where people are coming together to work on stuff. We're not making any profit off our videos, and you shouldn't unless you make your own music and you make your own anime. Then you can make whatever you want.
yeah,
Yeah, so this is, if anything, it's better. We're free advertising for these artists and these anime companies. We're helping them.
yeah. I think so too.
Yeah, and as for me personally, I don't really know. In terms of, I'm not sure what's going to happen in 10 years, and I'd rather not know because I'm not. We don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow. But as far as I
Yeah,
know, for editing, I will continue to do it until I'm unable to. Either regardless if it's life gets in the way, health reasons, or being dead. So
yeah. I think that's the last point where you won't do anything.
yeah, that would be the ultimate way you couldn't do videos
Yeah,
anymore if you're not living. Now, I do believe there is a heaven, and I do believe there'd be an awesome editing program up in heaven I can use. And if that's how I spend my eternity, that to me is worth living. Dying to live again. That's the way I look at it. But I like to continue doing what I do. I find such
mm,
joy, and I it's my little thing I like to do. I mean, I got other stuff, hobbies I get
mm,
into, and I mean, I freaking played airsoft yesterday, and I haven't done airsoft since high school, and I hurt, and I'm gonna hurt for the next couple of days, but that's just how it
that's life.
is. But yeah, but for me, it's like if it was a choice between airsoft and an AMV competition, I'm going to the AMV competition. Like I have more of a heart for that than and airsoft is just a fun thing to do, and it's good and healthy. But like my actual desire and drive
Mm,
is editing. That's how I feel, and that's what I think is right as of now, as of
mm,
this recording. Assume that's still going to be the same in 10 years. You can't pick your family over editing if
oh,
you're somebody sick or you got a
yeah,
kid on the way. Like you can take a break from it, but I mean, if it's still in you, it's not going anywhere. You're
yeah.
still gonna do it.
We are both way long in this AMV thing, and we over the time we saw evolution of AMV from simple editing to
Hmm.
nowadays with the heavy effect short edits which are very popular. What are your thoughts on this evolution? Is this a thing you don't like, or you think it's normal? But we have also some editors like you and me which are trying doing the classic stuff, I would say, or what do you think about it?
I like watching a video that I can enjoy and not feel that I'm gonna have a seizure watching it. I get people that are like they figured out how After Effects works and all the cool stuff they do, but like if it doesn't add to whatever they're trying to portray in the video other than just to look flashy, it means
Mm,
nothing to me personally. I get more enjoyment watching older AMVs of people having simple editing. I mean, they edit it with tape decks, linear
mm,
editing. I mean, and there's one of my favorite videos or AMVs from that era. It's Heart and Soul by Two Pal to Bubblegum Crisis, specifically episode 4.
okay.
And I remember I downloaded that years ago. And to me, because of the song and the video and the content that they use from Bubblegum Crisis, it's one of my favorite AMVs. Like even if it's not that flashy or
Mm-hmm.
not, it's too old. It's like a grandpa AMV. But it's comforting
Mm,
to watch. They wanted that was the story they wanted to tell. They visually said that how they wanted to put it to this song, and it's just such an enjoyment to
mm,
watch. And some of the I mean I downloaded a lot of that stuff back in like the file sharing days we talked about
yeah.
earlier in this recording. So like I've got some earlier stuff from Oshi or however you say
Mm-hmm.
his name. He did that one video to like Macross Plus and Information High. That is incredible to watch. Even now. I mean, it was incredible when I saw it the first time, and it was only because he made that in '98 or something,
Mm,
'99, and you can still watch it now, and it's still just it's so incredible, and because it's well edited and timed and paced from to the anime and the song that it sync that
yeah.
way, and I get more enjoyment out of that, and instead of somebody flashing a bunch of random cuts together. And there was one guy that made a video. I don't even know if it's on the org. I don't care to
Mm,
ever watch it again, but it was at Animazement, I think 2009 or so, or maybe 2010. And there was one point where it was a matter of just like, one image turned to 4, then to 8, and they kept multiplying, and it was syncing or editing to like these beats in this techno song. And when it got to like 200, like it felt like 100 images on like these quick
uh,
edits, and I couldn't look at it because there was too much there at the
mm,
same time. I couldn't sit down and watch it. It was already fast paced cut enough as it was. But then when you add like, 18 different windows on there of like, and you're trying to
yeah.
keep up visually, like what's being on there, like it's not
Mm,
fun. Like to me, that's just not fun to
mm.
watch.
But we also agree, yeah, we had this stuff like back in the past, and now we have it again. Do you think that this heavy short edits are more likely some for now for like 5 years a thing, and then it goes away more likely, or do you think it's more likely be much much more of them?
Worse.
I don't want to no, no,
Sorry.
it's okay. I don't want to judge on it because if people enjoyed it, wait, they should enjoy it. It's not also not my cup of tea, but I am not the person who judges
Yeah.
the people to say what you do is wrong because
Yeah.
people enjoy it, so it's okay. Like I don't know if you remember the video Spoil from
I don't think I've ever seen
it,
it.
it was a Death Note video with Celldweller back in 2007, if I'm correct. Yeah, it was a very, very popular video, which was more like, yeah, it looked great, but it was more like, yeah, it's just After Effects and a bunch of effects on it, nothing really
Hmm.
creative, but the people loved it at the time. And some other editors were like, yeah, it looked good, but if you watch it the second time, you realize, yeah, it's just effects, it's not much more.
Hmm.
So I can understand that with also the new stuff, some people are getting impressed and find it interesting to see these as heavy effects. But for some people, it's just like, yeah, it's just effects, not a scene or something like that. So I don't want to judge people by if they like it. Yeah, okay, go on. But it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I guess the same could be said with my stuff. I mean, I'm sure people are
Yeah,
like, I don't want to,
yes.
like I'm not into older films, like I don't really care, and it's like, that's fine, that's not your cup of tea, but like it's just my thing. If I like to sit down and watch something
Mm,
and tell me what, like comfortably tell me what's being shown, and that I can follow along, and I'm not like using a lot of brain cells to try to keep up with
with what's going on.
what's on there. And it's like, you're doing it to be flat. You're showing me that you have $1,000 grig that didn't explode when you hit convert. That's all it was. That's how I feel with all these like special effects. It's like, oh, so your computer's better than mine because it didn't crash and explode in your house when you went
Okay.
to go process it. Screw you. That's how I felt
Mm.
That was the one video I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anybody now. If that's what people like, sure. I mean, if you want to play it at a rave, dripping acid, okay. But that's not my thing.
Okay, okay. Nah, it's just a thing. I always want to know how people think about this new stuff because I know some of the younger people who say, yeah, they can't like this long videos because they say time is rare. So they want to be short entertained.
Mm.
They need the short entertainment, like 30 seconds. Yeah, it's okay, great, move on. They feel like, oh, it's just takes so long. It's yeah, I don't know why, but they feel like the videos are too long, most likely, and to hold up a certain level, they want to get the kick right from the beginning.
To my answer to that is, well, that's your problem. To be blunt,
It was just like I want to if you
yeah.
see that we are going more away from that, or if this short edits will be more likely dominating the AMV community in the future.
I kind of hope not, but I guess for me, I'm just focused on like what I want to do, and I'm not really worried about like I got no time to worry about where the community and cultures. I guess AMV culture is going. It's just like if that's the hot thing, it's not going to last long, and it's going to be on to something else, and then something else, as it
Yeah,
usually
good.
does. And then here I am, the old man that makes like trailers and 3-minute
Yeah.
videos to portray something that I make what I like, and if you like it, great. So
What are your thoughts about all the contests over the years and that some contests have some expectation what a great video is? Like, for example, some contests are more likely, yeah, they want to see more like the simple editing, but with better storytelling and something. And then there are other contests who wants to be more experimental in that way to create
mhm.
something. What are your thoughts about this thing? Or is it not correct to have like such difference in the contests?
I guess that's up to the coordinators and the people running the contest at the con. I mean, for me, like my stuff does well at certain cons that I
Mm,
found out. I had Judge's Choice. I'm looking at my awards right now, the few that I have, and Best Comedy at Anime Bonsai back in
mm,
2020. And then I thought I could pull that off with some of the new stuff I made, and I didn't get anything for it. So that was obviously for the Bebop Once Upon a Time in Hollywood trailer that I did. So there was people that really like that. It's kind of a matter of like if you find something that most people, if you figure out what people usually like and you make a video of that, you chances are you are
mm,
going to win. But that's if you're really wanting to like, what's your ultimate goal in making a video? Are you out to just win a bunch of contests, or are you actually going to improve and experiment and and work on your videos? And I mean, I like, I mean, I enter contests just to see how well I do, and for me, it's like I'm wanting to put my best stuff out there, and as long as somebody's out there to enjoy it, regardless if it wins or not, that should be the
mm,
most important thing. For me, I will say that it's I won all this stuff in 2020, but only when I got to Anime Weekend Atlanta in 2021. I got called on stage for best documentary on a video I didn't even think it was going to
mm,
win, and it really hit me that what I do really matters and what I make really matters. That I actually have a talent that it hit me, and I got emotional. I was trying to hold back tears on the stage, and I yelled out this loud battle cry when I got best documentary, and then followed by in the world trophies at the expo thing. And it was there to be in person, like just to hit me that like I did
mm,
this, like my work, people liked it enough that it's good enough to get these little like gold painted alien trophies, and like I'm so proud of it because that's what I earned,
mm,
that's what I work towards. And to me, I'm just so grateful for that. But it's like, I'm it's like now I have to kind of assess where it's like, okay, now that I have like the hype and the emotions of winning something, is that going to be my next goal, or do I still continue to do what I want to make, and regardless if it wins something or not? Because regardless, I mean, like people, I'm still usually a finalist in contest, and people like my stuff, and as long as I'm improving and making something that's very unique, somebody out there is going to like it, trophy
mm.
or not.
So it's more likely the competition is just to maybe get something out, but it's just like, yeah, if they have the chance, I finished the video, I can send it to them. Great. If I can be there, also it's much more likely I just put the video there. But if I have no chance, and so it doesn't matter.
I'd say like, make the best
Mm,
thing you can, put it out there and see what they say. That's it. But like, the thing is like you should be able to work on something that you enjoy. I don't think I could ever make something to that I'm gonna make just to appease that like, oh well this if I do this, it's gonna easily win
mm,
such and such. And to be honest, in the case, you're not gonna win anything doing that. So it's better to have an honest, a strong competition, or I guess make something you did a good job on and
mm,
submit it, and it's up to the judges instead of just like making something in a sense half-assed just to that you think is going to be popular because obviously the judges are going to
mm,
see it. But I've made unique stuff, and that's why people really like it. That's
mm,
why
mm,
I'm getting awards here and there, and for me it's like I'll just keep continuing to do it. And I like to put my best stuff out there, make something, make it look as good as possible that I'm able to do. And if it gets an award, great, and if not, that's okay. I'll take what I got from that and move on to the
mm.
next project.
Did you get something out of winning an award? So you know, okay, I did something right, or if you don't won, you are more likely, okay, look at it in a different way to think like, okay, now I take away the glasses to look at it in a different way.
I just know that I want to do the
Mm,
best I can, and if I get recognition for it, great. Doesn't make it, then it's whatever. But I noticed that there's certain contests that I guess depending who's running it, like I'll do very well because it's like okay, they know who I am, and I'm pretty sure I'll at least be a finalist, and then others it's like okay, well then they're I don't know that's not what they usually
mm.
pick or something.
But it's not like you say, okay, the video didn't want anything. Now I want to look at it. Maybe what have maybe done wrong. You're more likely, okay, I did my best at this
Mhm.
point, so okay, next video.
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, like when I did Platoon, like I was really proud because that's something I
Mm,
wanted to tell. And that video hasn't I think it was a finalist at probably YomaCon, but my rally video won like lock, stock, and smoke and
mm,
barrel. And I didn't think that one was going to be like I didn't think that trailer was as good as
mm.
Platoon, but they liked it more. So it's like whatever, go
Okay.
fig. But it depends. Like I said, it's up to the contest and the people running it. But it's like for me, it's like if somebody looks at it and they like what I have, and if that inspires them to make something else, then I think that's the overall goal of a video. To get somebody else to get inspired, or they're like, oh, maybe I ought to try, doing videos like
Mm,
Zeonic does, but doing it my own way. And
yeah.
I'm not sure about contest politics because I've only been in contests very briefly, like in the past couple years.
I'm just thinking of it because I know that some contests are, many people say, biased to certain
Hmm.
edits and videos from certain editors. Yeah, sure, because they know them editors and they have a similar style, what they do or how they like to watch videos. So, yeah, you have stuff like, okay, this video is more likely what they do and what they like, so it is more likely to win. And in other
Yeah.
ways, it's different. For Akkuscon, so, for example, there are many people who say, yeah, you need a Russian song, and then you have chances to win because the judges like them more because they know the songs and understand or something like that. I don't know.
No, this is all news to me, but I mean, I guess I would figure it out eventually the more I do these contests. But I mean, we're just in the middle of VCAs right
Mm,
now, and my stuff was kind of like, well, yeah, okay, so like my Initial D parody with Jeremy Clarkson won Best Documentary at
mm,
AWA, and maybe it's going to be at least a semifinalist or a finalist in the parody comedy section, and it didn't even get through past the
yeah.
first round. So I'm just like, whatever. I mean, like, but I don't know how many people are voting in the
Mm,
VCAs. I mean, there's a ton of videos this year, and there's a lot of
yeah.
good stuff. It's not to say that like, oh, a bunch of crap made it through. Why didn't my video did? And I'm looking, I'm like, no, actually, that was pretty
Yeah.
good. So being honest with yourself, try not to be like you want to be proud of your work. You want to be, look at your work as as of when I made it, it was the best thing I've made until the next thing. But at the same time, you see something else and you just put your hands up and be like, yeah, no, I'm not even no, I got a lot of work to do. So
Yeah, I had this also at one time. I was also in the VCA in the final rounds, and it was like, yeah, I lost to the video was called Mirrors in the
hmm
horror trailer section, and I
hmm
was like, yeah, sure, I can't win this. Forget it, forget it. I was like, yeah, this video need to win, and it won also. So
Yeah, yeah, it shows. I think really how less of a jerk you are if you're voting for the other video that you're competing with, and you're like, it's okay if I lose to this video because it's more deserving, and that's just good character out of a person to say that.
I need to say I didn't vote for it. I didn't also vote for my.
Oh.
I skipped the voting at this point.
There's also there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with an empty ballot.
Yeah, I was like, at this point, I was like, I should vote for myself, but no, I can't do that. That's no, no, no. And I was like, don't do anything. Let the people decide. Let the other people decide at this category.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. I mean, you're a more morally stable person than I am on that decision. I'm completely narcissist. I'm just going to be straightforward, anyways. But I mean, like when it came to like the first round voting, it was like select 8 videos you want to go to the first round. So obviously, I picked my stuff, and then I picked the other people's stuff.
I think that's normal at the beginning. At the beginning,
Yeah,
because
because you have all these. You got 8 selections. Obviously, you want to pick yours.
yep. Also, if you say, "Oh yeah, I put hard work into it, and I want to maybe spread it more to other people," yeah, I understand that, and I feel it's not wrong because I think everyone does that.
Yeah,
so.
it's not a big
No,
deal.
at this early stage, not.
No, yeah.
But okay, and I think we come here to an end already, and I want to thank you very much to be my guest today. If you want to say something, a shout out or anything, now would be the best time.
Well, thanks for everyone that was listening. This is a well jam-packed episode. Or yeah, this is an episode for you. Okay. I had to think like, how do you label these on YouTube? And I'm like, I think he puts episode in the titles or something. Or anyways, hopefully people enjoyed it. God bless you all. Have a great time, week, whatever. So, and I look forward to competing against you guys in contests. And very grateful to be here on this podcast. Thank you so much, Falcon.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and it's great to talk with people about our great hobby we all love and share. So thank you very much for being here today. And I hope all the listeners out there had some entertaining and informative time with our podcast today and will coming back for the next episode. So, see ya.